Today I wanted to make a quick video here to show off a set that I've kind of always appreciated and unofficially been working on, but gonna really pursue to finish this thing out. What this is it's part of the 1991-92 Pro Set Hockey set. There's 44 All-Star cards, which are right here. So 44 cards in the set. I've got 26 of them signed. I need 18 of them. This image is from the 1991 All-Star game in Chicago. The reason I love the set and why I'm pursuing it is the 1991 All-Star game in Chicago is my all-time favorite All-Star game. I've got really fond memories of it. Nothing particular that day, but I looked it up. It was January 19th, 1991. And I just remember that day fondly. I was would have been 11 years old, so kind of in the peak of my fandom. I remember that morning, my mom had took me to a card show, a sports card show, which I still enjoy going to today. I used to go with $40 was my limit. I'd save my money for weeks leading up to the show. It was always really fun. I remember her picking me up. We went to McDonald's for lunch that day, and I kind of had to hurry back home. The game started at 12 o'clock, and I just remember watching that game, loving it. You know, these guys depicted in the cards and in the set are kind of all the prime guys from my era. And if you remember correctly, that's the game Vince Donfus here got the MVP, scored 4 goals, being a Leaf, maybe a Toronto kid. It was a great game to watch. So I've always kind of had a special feeling for these cards. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll turn the camera around and I'll kind of look at what I have and what I need and kind of how I'm going to finish this thing out. And so we'll turn the camera around. Thanks for watching and hope you enjoy the video. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'll go through the cards I have. I'll kind of hopefully remember where I got them signed, and then I'll kind of go through what I need and kind of my plan of attack. First guy here, Theoren Fleury, former Calgary Flame. Actually just got this card signed, I think it was maybe a year or two ago via TTM. I've got him many times in person over the years, but this was a TTM. Calgary Flame, Al MacInnis, Hall of Famer here. This I got signed at the NHL Combine many years ago. I'm going to guess maybe around 2007. It was the Patrick Kane year. He was a scout for the Blues or working with the Blues, but I got that signed in person. Chelios, I believe this was TTM from a few years ago. Chris Chelios, Chicago Blackhawk. Steve Larmer, probably in person, I would guess. I can't really recall, but just over the years, you know, I have 10,000 signed cards, so some stuff is a blur, believe it or not. I know most of my stuff, but this I gotta guess was in person over the years. Same with this one, Chicago Blackhawk, Jeremy Roenick. He's a great signer in person. I've got him many times over the years. Probably just in my travels got that done. Billy Ranford, got this done a few years ago. He works with the LA Kings when he came to town. So Billy Ranford, Edmonton Oiler. Steve Smith, this was in person as well. He's had a pretty long career. I got him when he was a player, but mostly he's had quite a few runs as an assistant NHL coach. So coming into town, I got this signed in person, Steve Smith. It's probably the biggest card in the set. No doubt, Wayne Gretzky here in black. This was signed for me on the golf course, golf tournament he was playing in. So it's good to get this one knocked out of the way. This is if you get the Gretzky card, you can work through the set backwards from that. So probably the biggest card, most important, I would think. I got that done. Luc Robitaille, this is in person. Most of these are in blue. I have some in black. You know, the Gretzky's in black, but I'll try for blue with most of them, but if I have a few in black, it's no problem. But Robitaille, this was done in person over the years, coming to town. Dave Gagne, he was a scout. I got this signed, I believe, at the NHL Combine many years ago. Bobby Smith was a TTM, a through the mail, sending to him. I believe he was working for Halifax or something on the East Coast. Brett Hall, this was signed, I remember this vividly, this was signed while he was a player for the Red Wings. So they were in town to play the Leafs. So this would have been, geez, many years ago, maybe over 20 years ago. But he wasn't signing anything but cards on that trip is what he told us. So he signed a couple cards for me, this being one of them. Adam Oates, was signed in person over the years. He came to town and probably as assistant coach, but I've got him many times. Donfus was through the mail. just a year or two ago. I've got him many times in person as well, but obviously he's been retired for a long time, but that's where this card was signed. He was the MVP of the game. Trevor Linden signed in person. Phil Housley signed in person. Here's another Hall of Famer. The Ray Bork, if you saw my previous video, he signed this for me in person just last week. He was in town for an alumni thing, and I got the card signed. So that's another one, big one to get signed for the set. Dave Christian just got this signed through the mail. If you saw a couple of my previous videos, I mailed him $5. He signed the card. This is just recent. This is just a few weeks ago. Andy Moog, I believe this was in person when he was a coach or a player. John Cullen through the mail just a few weeks ago as well. I mailed him 5 cards, including this one. He signed it back. I sent him the blue Sharpie and he used it. Brian Skrudlin was maybe a year or two ago through the mail. He signed that. John McClain. So John McClain was in person. He's had a storied career as not only a player but an assistant coach. So he's a good signer when he comes to town. Mark Recchi I've got many times. This was signed in person coming into town, as well as Kevin Stevens. Same thing in person. Joe Sakic I got signed this spring in person. So he was in town for an event, and it's one of the cards he signed for me. I believe I have it in one of my previous videos, but this was signed in person just a few months ago. Last card I got signed here, Guy Lafleur. Mailed this to him, I don't even know if it was a year before he passed away. Pretty awesome guy in person, awesome guy through the mail. But this was through the mail just prior to his death. So he's the only deceased player in the set. So this one is done. So that concludes the 26 I have signed. Here are the remaining 18 I need. So Kevin Hatcher, haven't seen him in a very long time. I know this card exists. You can probably buy it signed. If I see him pop up at a signing, I do it there. I think the mail is kind of hit or miss. So this one will be, I'll have to find a way to get it done. Not worried about this one, Paul Coffey. He lives in the Toronto area. I see him semi-frequently at different things. I think it's just a matter of time before I get him. He also does a lot of paid signings. So this one I'm not worried about. Rick Tockett's an assistant coach for Vancouver, so when they come to town, I'm going to try to get this thing done. I can get that in person. Darren Turcotte, I believe, is working for a university in Ontario. Possibly I'll try the mail, or I may attend the game when the university comes to play either U of T or York University in town here. So this one I can probably get in person. Pat LaFontaine, I see here and there, does a lot of signings. I'll just have to wait for the next opportunity. Brian Leach does his mail. I already have it out to him. Does a lot of signings, so I'll probably get it whatever comes first. Cam Neely, he does come to town with the Bruins. I have gotten him many times over the years. I'll probably try that, or also just a paid signing, something he does frequently. Uwe Krupp, I think, is hit or miss with the mail. I'm going to try him there. Pat Verbeek is the GM with the Anaheim Ducks. So when they come to town, I will pursue it. One of the legends, Patrick Waugh, will have to be probably through a signing, or if I have an opportunity to get him in person. Same thing with Dennis Savard. Scott Stevens, very tough. If you get to him, he's decent about signing. I probably only see him maybe once every 5 years. Doesn't do too many signings. I'll just kind of have to wait for the opportunity. Sandstrom lives in Europe, but he does do signings, so I'll probably go that avenue. This guy will be tough, Stevie Yzerman, but it's achievable. I won't doubt that I'll have a chance at him at some point down the road. The other tough one in the set is going to be this guy, Mark Messier. But he is doing quite a bit of signings now, mail-ins, so this one will get done, I'm sure. Mike Vernon, he's starting to be around. He's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I'll probably have a crack at him in person coming up, but we will see. Not worried about this. I already have one in the mail for this guy, Gary Suter, but he's very hit or miss in the mail. I've never got him back in the mail. Other people have. You just got to you know, hopefully I guess get lucky. So as I said, I already have one out to him. So we'll see where that goes. Last but not least, the most difficult guy in the set, if not going to be impossible, but I'm not worried, believe it or not, is Gary Galley. He does not sign this card. So if you ask him to sign it, he refuses. If you mail it to him, he sends it back unsigned. He'll tell you he does not sign this card. So for whatever reasons, in my experience, sometimes players, they have a certain card they've only signed for their family or their kids, or maybe they don't like the team, or they weren't paid by the card company. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but I never asked Mr. Galley why he doesn't sign it, but I'll have to work around it. There's different tricks and different things you can do in this hobby to kind of make things happen. So stay tuned for that. But that pursues the set. That concludes the set. So I'll keep you updated with my videos. And thank you as always for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe.